Good evening, all, and once again, welcome to the Shadow Gallery. I am, as always, your host, James Donnelly, and we're talking comics this week. I am going to I'm going to kind of blow through a lot of stuff here, and I'm sure as I'm saying that right now, it's actually going to come back to haunt me because I know that I'm probably going to end up spending more time on some things that that I didn't mean to. This was a fantastic week in comics for me. It had a lot of stuff that I really just fucking loved. I mean, I have what I think is quite possibly like a five-way tie for for book of the week. It's really, really hard to choose. But when push comes to shove, I'm probably going to go one way. So we'll get to that. So let's kick it off. So, you know what? Okay, fuck it. First thing that I'm going to talk about is from last week before, Kick-Ass 2 number 4. I don't have that downstairs. It's upstairs in my box. But here's the thing. I actually got into kind of a Twitter debate with Mark Millar actually about this particular issue. I felt that this issue was... I know that Mark Millar can be very brutal, very graphic. I don't really have a problem with that. In fact, that's something that kind of attracts me to his work. However, I felt a lot of the violence and just a lot of the violence was too much. It was too far over the top. And his kind of, his side of the argument, when I presented this idea, that it was for shock value, that I felt a lot of the violence was merely for shock value. He presented his side of the argument was that it's an escalation. That this is what, formerly Red Mist, now the motherfucker, this is what he does. This is what he wants to do. He wants to escalate things. And he actually referenced, it's kind of like Clockwork Orange meets Heath Ledger's Joker character from, The Dark Knight. And I felt that it was because he had put a tweet earlier that day about the about everybody kind of he was giving thanks to all the people who had praised this issue of Kick-Ass, and I wanted to put a counterpoint out there because I didn't really see any. That this issue was, in my opinion, it was too brutal, it was too violent. There's child murder and rape. Now, I mean, these things. It kind of felt like this is becoming like it's weird. This is kind of almost becoming like not a cause, but it's just something that I'm starting to become a little bit more in tune with, which is the whole kind of women in refrigerators thing. I just felt that it went too far. It was too much. Ultimately, it was my point that while the issue itself is well written, and of course the art by J.R. Jr. is terrific, I just felt that there could have been more subtlety. I guess that was where I was coming from, and I honestly could have done without the rape. But then when I think about it, when he says it's kind of Clockwork Orange-ish, it's like, well, I understand what you're trying to say. I didn't like Clockwork Orange either, because I thought there was just too much shit. I just thought it was there was too much violence, and it seemed like a lot of it was just violence for violence's sake. So that's my take on Kick-Ass 2 number 4, is that I appreciate the idea of escalation. I just think that it could have been handled a little less extreme, I guess. It was a little too. It was just a little too much, and that really bothered me when I, as I was reading it, and so as it came to my review. So anyway, moving along. Okay, so let's get to some other stuff. Red Lanterns, number 2. This is officially gone in my pull box. I'm really liking this comic. I like Atrocitus's story. I liked the everything that was kind of going on in this issue. I still felt it was a little. The one thing I will say is it felt a little repetitive, as far as the this issue and the first issue were concerned. But it's still, I think it's going strong. This is honestly, in my opinion, this is the strongest of the of any of the Lanterns universe comics by far. So anyway, so that was really good. 7 out of 10. But again, a solid read, and and certainly for $2.99, good stuff. Huntress, number 1. This, Paul Levitt's kind of coming down from his throne, so to speak, as being one of the, I don't know if he's EIC of DC or exactly what his place is in that universe, but I really enjoyed this read. I really enjoyed this comic, with Helena, however you want to pronounce it, going back to, going to Italy. And fighting some crime there, and basically trying to rescue women who are essentially they're being sold into slavery, and coming up against this this kind of international crime syndicate. It was great to see a female character written really, really well. Especially someone as powerful as the Huntress. I just, at least in the DC universe, let me put it that way. Because I haven't seen a whole lot of that lately with, some of the big titles like, with the exception of Batwoman. Catwoman and Batgirl, they're a little on the, it's kind of towing the line. They're still good reads, but this was a lot better. This was definitely, and this, even that, it's a limited series, 1 of 6, so, but it's definitely worth checking out, absolutely. Moon Knight, number 6. This is a real, I mean, I love how he's really working with, how Bendis is really working with the craziness of this character, but it's no longer a, it's not like a weird, scary crazy. It's more like, crazy like a fox type of crazy. And the scene, I mean, the scene was just makes me laugh hysterically, is when the Avengers actually show up, and it's, it's Captain America and Wolverine are there, and, he says to them, "Are you guys real? Are you guys really here?" As opposed to the Cap and the Wolverine and the Spider-Man that are in his head. All these guys are there, including, Luke Cage and Ms. Marvel and stuff like that. So, I like that it's him and Echo. I mean, that's basically kind of like, they're Avengers, but they're kind of like, these B-listers. And they're kind of, they're staking their claim in California or Los Angeles, whatever you want to call it. And there is kind of a kingpin of Los Angeles, but we don't know who it is yet, but it's somebody extremely powerful. I like the way that things are ramping up in this series a lot. And just, Bendis writes the hell out of, of so much, and just really can put his heart into, heart and soul into all these characters and all these different characters. Because he had, he's doing so, he's working on, like 20 different comics at once, almost all the time. So, much respect to this man, and, kudos to make, continuing to make Moon Knight a tremendously entertaining and interesting read. The biggest disappointment of this week is Invincible number 83. Um, this, and it kind of hurts me to say this, this actually was working better when I was reading the trades. As I'm reading the individual issues, it seems more, the story starts to, it seems like it's starting to lack cohesion. It's like, okay, well, I've got to go back 6 issues or 7 issues or 8 issues to figure out what the hell is going on in the current issue. I mean, because there's so much, there's a lot of stuff going on with, you know, these different characters and, you know, what is the, you know, what's going on with, you know, Monster Girl and with Rex and, you know, it's like at least I see what is going on with, you know, with Mark. You know, so I mean, and you know, in his relationship with Adam Eve. I mean, it's just, you know, that's good stuff. That's strong stuff. But I mean, some of this just seems like Kirkman he's reaching back too far. He's not keeping it. He's not keeping a pace. He's not keeping a very steady pace with this comic. So that's the only thing that really is bothering me about this. So I was just disappointed because Invincible has rapidly become like one of my favorite characters and favorite comics out there on the shelves, and this just, you know, like I said, it just disappointed me. Just it felt a little, it felt weak. So, but you know, I think once I have all the issues together and I start reading it through again, this will be like, oh man, what a great issue. So I mean, that is an issue to that, you know, that sometimes, and I think especially with someone like Robert Kirkman, because I've been getting The Walking Dead only in trades. I won't pick up any new issues because I just want to see it collected, because the arcs themselves are too they're too dense to just sit and read a single issue for me. So I will continue to keep collecting that way, and who knows, I might even go with Invincible back to just getting trades. So we'll see. Batwing number 2. This is still also continuing to be a really good and interesting read. I love the take on this character. I really appreciate, I mean, God, I love the art. You know, Ben Oliver is just, he's destroying with the art in this book, and it's just terrific. It's a really interesting read. It's a great new character to explore. I hope that this book will last. I have a feeling this is going to be one of the, you know, the new series that gets, you know, kind of the axe early on, unless it starts really getting better, you know, unless it starts getting better sales. So, and also because it is a new and unknown quantity to test out. But, geez, this really good stuff. And following up on that is, on that idea also, is Men of War number 2. This is a really dense, fascinating read. Ivan Brandon, Tom Derenick, Jonathan Venkin, Phil Winslade. I mean, the art's terrific. The stories are really interesting. I mean, this new generation of, you know, Sergeant Rock, kind of the new generation, if you will. You know, it's just, there's so much interesting stuff going on here with, you know, with these characters, and it is $3.99, but that's because it's got an A and a B story in it, you know, and they're both dense reads. They're really strong, so it's worth the $3.99 to pick this up. So I mean, I just am afraid again that this is going to be one of those books that does suffer from, you know, that nobody's really that interested, it doesn't have a big name, and so on and so forth. But anyway, I hope this continues because it's great. I'll be back in just a few moments with some more comics, and we'll talk.